because you should be concerned there's blood in your underwear. Do you understand this? Dude, I don't understand at all. I eat Chipotle all the time and it never made me crap blood. Oh, well, how nice for you, Stan.
If Democrats manage to hold the House of Representatives and win back the Senate White House in November, the party will have full control of the federal government for the first time in 11 years. Police reform, climate change, and health care are all on their agenda. But before newly empowered Democrats get into any of that, they will very likely pass a relief package to address the coronavirus pandemic and the associated economic crisis. Then they will aim to fundamentally change how voting and government work in the United States by expanding voting rights, reducing the influence of money in politics, strengthening ethics rules, and maybe even ending the Senate filibuster. Reforms they hope will make America's democracy work better and the rest of their agenda easier to carry out. If there is any political capital to be spent, the concerns over democracy reform take a front seat to everything in the agenda. A senior aide to a progressive senator told me the aide requested anonymity because he wasn't authorized to speak on the record. It would mean so much just in terms of building long-term power, a senior aide to a progressive House Democrat added. By starting with these reforms, Democrats are taking a risk. They'll likely have only a short window of time in a majority to accomplish their most pressing agenda. Prioritizing one item could mean sacrificing another and failing to deliver on key issues. But the Democratic lawmakers, staffers, and activists that I spoke with view government and voting reform as a kind of precursor to accomplishing any of their other policy goals. Their first attention will be to the economic implosion, but there are a group of other issues on the people's minds. Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon told me, "We are at the moment where we have to succeed now in restoring the integrity of the American vision." Democrats have given these process changes, which they called democracy reform, top billing on their legislative docket before the For the People Act. And the For the People Act, this is exactly what is going on right now. They're strengthening this act by these other measures. All right, so man, sometimes one just gets lucky and finds a golden nugget right in the beginning. Because this is the first website I actually clicked on. More commonly known as the HR 1, was the first piece of legislation the Democratic-controlled House passed in 2019 and contained a grab bag of reforms establishing automatic voter registration for all Americans, making Election Day a national holiday, ending partisan gerrymandering, requiring presidents to disclose tax returns, and creating a public financing system for federal campaigns. These reforms will make it easier for most Americans to vote. They'd also Democrats to make it easier for Democrats to win elections. Friggin' fuck these sites. Anyways, however, despite democracy's popularity around the globe, it is important to remember that democracies can easily fail without proper upkeep. Indeed, many countries such as Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Egypt have lost their democracy over the past century. So how exactly does a democracy slide into a dictatorship? Dictators may rise in power in a democracy through several ways. One is the result of political polarization, where the competing political sides no longer want to cooperate with one another, allowing violent or extremist groups to take over politics instead. Ha ha! Oh shit! You know, like, I just come across these fucking nuggets, man. I just come across these fucking nuggets that freaking, man, the gods smile upon thee, and that's freaking goddamn beautiful, you know, and, freaking fuck. Anyways, you fuckers. I love you. Freaking thanks for you show me that you're there. A democracy can always fall when a country's elites feel that democracy no longer works for them. When these elites feel that losing an election may mean forfeiting their power and influence over the country, they may seek to take over the country by force, turn it into a dictatorship. Or democracies can fall the other more subtle way when elites first grab onto power via democratic means before then stripping away democratic rights. Oh, like censorship, right? Political radicalization and social desperation. Democracies are characterized by lively but peaceful debate between a variety of political parties and interest groups. In a healthy democracy, these groups agree to make compromises that will benefit their group of voters or constituencies, but sometimes these political groups begin disagreeing with each other so much that they no longer believe that compromise with the other group is possible. When a political arena no longer becomes about compromise, it becomes a matter of dominating by one group over the other. In some situations, such as in the case of major economic collapse or significant military defeat, voters may seek extreme options by choosing political parties which promise to single-handedly save the country from its economic or political woes, usually through authoritarian means. The often unforeseen cost of electing these parties, however, is that they tend to destroy democratic principles once they enter power. So, what did Biden do the first 2 hours in office? He freaking started signing executive orders, right? And then freaking the pandemic, the virus, like that's freaking they're gonna save us from the pandemic, the virus, right? That's what they're saving us from. It's not fucking the boogeyman like Bin Laden, like global war and terrorism and shit, right? Weimar, Weimar, Germany's descent into Nazism is one of history's most evocative examples of democratic collapse. In 1919, after the end of World War I, Germany was defeated. Its monarchy ousted and a republican democracy was formed in its place. The young Weimar Republic, pardon me, had a highly innovative constitution that, for the first time in Germany's history, granted all Germans broad representation and the universal right to vote. However, the young German Republic was plagued by a series of significant problems stemming from Germany's defeat in the Great War. The, excuse me, Entente powers, pardon me, imposed harsh and deeply humiliating Treaty of Versailles that forced Germany to pay massive indemnities to the whatever the hell powers, which left the country impoverished. The defeat also significantly destabilized German society and politics, leading to a series of revolutions and attempted coups, uh, whatever, throughout the 1920s, as various different radical groups, ranging from communists to militarists, sought to take over the Weimar government. Amidst the disorder, a French group slowly rose to prominence. They were the National Socialists, or Nazis. They first emerged on the German political scene in 1923. I mean, scheme actually works too. When they attempted the Bear Hall push in Munich, a plot where they sought to take over the government, Weimar government by force. The coup was unsuccessful and was quickly crushed, prompting the Nazis' leader, Adolf Hitler, to try and enter the Weimar political system through democratic means, with some caveats, before overthrowing the German state and bringing about their dictatorship. So,
Griff Jenkins, he is reporting live from Washington. Griff, are they going to go it alone?
I think they are, Dana. Good morning to you. Happy Friday. It looks like a pure...
what she's saying is, what she asked, are they doing it alone? Basically saying, are the Democrats just going to try and run the government by themselves? Because it seems like I said, the Republicans, they're just done. They're not fucking around. After this, because I was watching the Senate and everything like that, friggin', what was it, like 10 or 11 of the Republicans tried, that were bipartisan, were trying to talk to the other side, and apparently nothing went. Well, I shouldn't say another one, but like the Democrats decide not to listen to the Republicans. That's what I was trying to say. And so this is a dictatorship that we are. I didn't vote for it. And I don't think any of y'all did too. I'm
Really partisan path indeed, and history was made when, as you mentioned, Vice President Kamala Harris casting the tiebreaker, advancing this nearly $2 trillion relief plan.
On this vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 50, the Senate being equally divided. The Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the concurrent resolution as amended is adopted.
This after 15 hours of voting. Time-honored tradition where the minority party, in this case Republicans, forces the majority for endless amendments, putting everyone on record. Now any senator could offer an amendment. More than 81 roll call votes were taken. Among the ones that passed, Joni Ernst to prohibit increasing the minimum wage during the pandemic. Another, blocking illegal immigrants from getting stimulus checks, as well as one keeping the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem. Only one amendment got unanimous consent, 100-0 police. Now, not all were adopted. The Democrats shot down Tom Cotton's amendment against packing the Supreme Court, and they killed another that opposes stimulus checks for prisoners, as well as one effectively reinstating border wall construction. So, Dana, what happens now? Well, this is just the first step because it created the vehicle, if you will, the budget resolution that puts the Democrats' package on the path to passing through reconciliation, sidestepping Republicans and skirting a filibuster. It now goes back to the House, where they begin working on it in committee, and then ultimately they'll work with the Senate to craft the actual COVID bill. That's expected sometime in mid-March, and the timing matters because that's when unemployment benefits expire.
She's not impressed. She's not impressed. And that's the thing is that, she's not stuck up, stuck up conservative or anything of that nature. I don't think she is. She might be. But I think that she's just like most Americans and just freaking, we have our different sides and stuff, but do we really need to be this divided? We should just be, we should find our shades of gray that we can meet on. We shouldn't just be so extreme. I mean, well, it's just, what it comes down to is that the gray, it's very small. It can't be, gray. Because, I mean, the thing is, it's like, well, people that are extremely conservative, they don't want them, people to be, having conflicts with them and stuff like that. So they go to, shade. But it's just, man, this is just madness. But, yeah. Welcome to the Biden dictatorship. Adolf Biden.
For the last.
So they also have a deadline, which is why this is all happening. Thank you, Griff.